I'm going to put you on something. You've never had it before. You have to try it. Yeah, exactly. A lot of them would talk back. I mean, volleyball.
That was bad.
All right.
That was
Park scoop. It was awesome, dude. It was cool. That thing was surprise.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chicas Talk podcast. My name is Landon Parrish. I'm joined with my right-hand man, King Roger. And as you guys will see, we've got a little bit of a different setup going. We're not at LCU anymore. We're in a new place. So got a couple shout-outs to give, and then we'll get rolling into this thing. We're here at Golf Suites. They're generously letting us use their facility, and so we're really appreciative of that. We've got some cool things set up for this podcast, and I think you guys will enjoy what we've got ready to go. Also, huge shout out to Skydive Media. They've got all the cameras set up, all the lighting, making us look good. Could not do this podcast without that. Like, this is incredible. I know we've done it in a room at LCU, and so this is really awesome. And then we've also got a live audience joining us today, so big shout out to those guys, friends, family, all of the above being here. And so we really appreciate them being here and supporting us as we get this thing going. And then we're joined with a very special guest. We've got Avery Benson on the podcast with us. A lot of you guys will probably know him for dunking on Louisville and bringing Tech home a one-ranked team win and being that glue guy. So Avery, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome hanging out with you guys a little bit beforehand, and got an awesome crowd out here today. So really excited, and it's really cool. I've got an awesome setup. So.
Yeah, like we said, we kind of just got this thing going a few days ago.
Yeah, it's been a very crazy couple days. It was we just had a conversation with one of our friends. He works here, and he was like, yeah, I can get you hooked up with a couple guys. And that conversation led to another. That conversation led to another. And then I guess now we're here like 48, 72 hours right after those conversations, which is just honestly insane.
So yeah, we're going to keep the same format. It's going to be 3 segments. We've gone over it a little bit with Avery, but we like to do our first segment. We've done this with everybody that's been on the show, whether they're an athlete or whether they work at LCU or even went to LCU, that kind of stuff. I like to get people's story. Everybody has a story. It doesn't matter if your story's way far out there or grew up in one town, stayed there your whole life. Everybody has a story, and I think people can benefit from hearing those stories. So we're gonna get diving into your story a little bit and figure out how you got into basketball. So my first question, I've asked Norris and Clark the same thing. Why pick up a basketball in the first place? You could have played football. You could have played golf. Why basketball?
It really wasn't a choice in my household. We lost our plant, by the way.
Not the plant. It's totally real. It's watered, taken care of, I promise.
Oh, yeah.
Again, this is the first time we're doing this, so again, the plane was not supposed to fall.
Okay, but back to the question.
Yeah,
why basketball?
All right. It really wasn't a choice in my household. My dad played college ball. My grandpa played college ball, turned into a high school coach. My dad, as we talked earlier, I'm big into hunting and fishing. My dad ended up getting into the outdoors for, a career. Which is still what he's doing, but he still watches basketball and obviously watched me and basically coached me at home and stuff. So really wasn't a choice. He was like, listen, you're going to do something. He's like, I'd rather it be basketball because, he grew up in a real small town, no football, basketball was kind of it. So, kind of got a hold of that at a young age.
So basketball was the sport you stuck with, obviously, and it took you pretty far. If you could go back to the beginning, would there be another sport that you pick up? Would you try something else, or do you have that love for basketball? Obviously, you have to have some love for basketball to play it at a Division I level.
Yeah.
But if you could go back, would you do something else?
I love football.
Really?
I really do, and I was good at it. I was a decent enough athlete growing up and stuff. I love playing football. That's my mom's side of the family. They're, Razorback fans and Dallas Cowboy fans. And so, my grandpa was always trying to get me to, toss a football around in the yard because he didn't know much about basketball. So I'd love to have played football. I enjoyed it. It was really fun. It's the perfect sport for like a little kid, a boy. He just wants to run around and
hit things.
It's just like controlled chaos. So I'd have loved to have I probably would have pursued football if it wasn't basketball. So,
what position did you play?
I was quarterback.
Wow.
and I didn't really enjoy it. I was more of on the defensive side. I enjoyed defense more because
So
like
you just like hitting the mess at
well,
somebody?
yeah, like it just came easier, I guess. Like
fair.
I didn't want to like memorize plays and like have to like read signals because I was super bad at that. And so I was like, I'll just leave it to somebody else that like wants to play quarterback. I really didn't want to.
Well, that's interesting. You mentioned you like defense. We'll get into that a little bit in the next segment. As Texas Tech was known for defense in basketball, and we'll see if maybe some of that stuff carried over a little bit. But you mentioned that your dad played college basketball. You had people in your life that played basketball and grew up, and you talked a little bit about how they were sort of your coach throughout your time here. What did that look like as a young age? How did were you playing like little league? Was that kind of stuff? Were you playing basketball your whole time? You knew this is what you wanted to do, or was this something you picked up in high school and you're like, all right, I'm going to pursue this and move on later on down your career?
For sure. My dad was really good, because a lot of the times he coached my boys and girls club team or, whatever recreational league that I'd be playing in. He was like the coach or would help out with practices and stuff. So he was really good when I was young. He's like, hey, have fun, like play hard and like everything. But like it's a game, you're here to have fun, kind of be with your friends and stuff. And so that was a long time. He wasn't, drilling it in my head that I was going to have to go play college ball when I was like 6. He was super, easy. Yeah, he was very competitive and stuff. But now when I got older, he was like, all right, like, what do you want? I want to help you achieve goals. He's like, if you just want to go to work, go to work. He's like, if you want to be super smart, we'll try that, And so I was like, man, I want to play college basketball. He's like, okay. We kind of dove into it, and that's when, we were getting up at, 4:30 in the morning, going to the gym, shooting. He didn't know a whole bunch about weights. So, he was from a time where it was just about getting your shots up and playing hard. We tried our best with the weights. Obviously, didn't really stick that well, but and so then, as I got older, it became more of like a coaching. Obviously he's still my dad, but he started pushing skills and practicing on my own, and then performing in games. If I want to play in college, I gotta play good in high school too. It's not just a handout.
So then when did that metaphorical like switch click in your head that this is what you wanted to do? Like, was it like your first like JV practice like in like freshman year of high school? Was it later in your senior year, your junior year? Like when did that switch happen?
Probably at the end of my freshman year. I went to a smaller school in Arkansas, which is where I'm from. I went to a smaller high school, and it just wasn't like clicking. You want to play with talented guys in high school, and so I played in the EYBL for a team that no longer is an organization. And me and my dad, we just got done at Peach Jam, and like that's the level you want to be at, and it's like the best players in the country in the high school age. And we're sitting here and we're going, all right, how do we do that during the school year? Well, like in the big conference, Malik Monk was in there, a kid named Peyton Willis who played at Vanderbilt. So like all these, super talented guys. So like, all right, we gotta move up. So basically at the end of my freshman year, we were like, all right, like let's try to bite off more than we can chew and just see how it goes. So after my sophomore year, I did 2 years public, and then my senior year I finished up at a prep school. So
like, if you were to ask me or any of these other people who have watched Texas Tech basketball for a long time, they would say when Avery Benson got on the floor, what did Avery Benson bring to the table? Hustle is the first thing that comes to my mind, and probably all of the other people. Is that something that's been in your game your whole life? And I talked to Norrance and Clark about this, how your game has to shift, your dynamics have to shift. Norrance said, back in the day, I'm dropping 30 a game. I'm going crazy. And obviously at Texas Tech, your dynamic has to change a little bit. And for you, that was the hustle guy. You came in, you made the big plays. You kept the team in games that maybe sometimes they shouldn't have been in. How did that really get to be your focus of being, I'm going to be the hardest working person on this floor, no matter who steps on this floor?
Yeah. So kind of like my first realization of it's kind of a funny story because I saw him today. I went to the Womble with a friend of mine that still works up there, and I get to campus where they kind of let you get sorted out for a few days. It's for freshmen, it's your first time without mom and dad, so like they kind of let you get your stuff organized, whatever. And we're going to practice, and I'm a walk on. Like, I know I'm gonna play hard. My dad always told me, he's like, Avery, like, the game's not like what I played it. My dad's 6'1", he's just a white guy that could shoot.
Yeah.
He's like, that don't work too often anymore. He's like, very few, it's not the majority. He's like, you're going to have to play harder and smarter than all these guys. He's like, you're not going to be as athletic, as tall, strong, the whole nine. I was lacking all of it.
He said you suck at this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we go into practice and we're running like a 3-on-2, 2-on-1 drill or something. And I'm fairly athletic. Like, I can dunk and stuff. Used to. Can dunk and stuff. And I catch it in the corner, and I'm wide open. And like, my thing was the corner three. I loved it. It just came super natural. And I just went up, no hesitation, shot it. And Zaire Smith from out of nowhere, like from the middle, like jumps from the middle of the lane, and he just blocks my shot. And I'm just like, oh. And Coach Beard blows a whistle, and he like comes up to me. He's like, listen. He's like, that guy can jump. He's like, you need to like pump fake, pass it. He's like, you got to find where you fit. I was like, got you, coach. 100%. So from like that day forward, I was like, dang it, Zaire. Like, you ruined my first day in practice. But it was, all good and fine. But yeah, like, I saw him today, and I was actually laughing about that with him because he brings it up. He's like, remember our first day of practice? I'm like, yeah, I do, Zaire.
It's burned in my memory pretty well.
Yeah. And, just like you said, Norris, we all come from high school, and we're all dropping 25, 30. And even though I played with those guys like Malik Monk and high-level athletes, it changes completely once you get up to college, any college level.
Yeah. Because the whole team dynamic shifts. Because in high school, you can sort of get away with being that number one guy. You can carry yourselves. I remember I went to Midland Christian. We had two guys through my time there that pretty well carried our basketball program. Not to take anything away from anybody, but Joseph Van Zandt and Daniel Van Zandt both came through our program, dropping 45 points a game, and keeping us in games that might not should be games that we're in. And obviously, when you get to a Division I level, that stuff kind of changed. You got 5 guys on the floor who were dominating their high school time. So it's cool to hear the story of how that stuff shifts sometimes for people coming in.
Everything's multiplied by like 1,000 too. So in high school, we'd practice for like an hour. After a whole school day, you ride the bus to. We ride the bus to LCP, you warm up for 15 minutes, and then you play, 4 8-minute quarters?
Yeah.
It's barely a half. It's barely a college half, and then you come to college, you're working out 3 times a day, you're eating, ungodly amounts of food, you're trying to sleep, homework, and then practice and your individual workouts. It opens up a lot of people's eyes, but also... some guys are really built for it, and they're very blessed in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
So,
kind of backtracking just a little bit, you just talked about your first day of practice at Tech, but kind of backtracking just a tad, how did your recruiting process work? Like, you were a walk-on here at Tech, but how'd you come to Lubbock? Like, why did you come to Lubbock?
Yeah, so, like I said, I was in Arkansas. I played for the UIBL team, and I wanted to play D1 basketball, under the big lights. Have a chance to, go to the tournament, grow up watching it with my dad. And so, I get a bunch of D2s and, small Christian schools. And like Abilene Christian was, a big one at the time. And so, we're going through it. And then my senior year, comes to an end. And all right, my D1 offer is University of Arkansas Little Rock. Call Coach Beard up. I'm like, I'm on my way. Well, they go 37-2 or whatever it was, and they make the tournament, have a crazy win against Purdue, and we're like, me and my dad are watching it, and my dad's like, son, like, I hate to break it to you, like, he's not going to be there next year. He's like, that's how it works. Like, you know, when mid-major coaches do fantastic, like Shaka Smart when he was at VCU, he goes to Texas. He's like, that's what happens. They just move up. And so he was like, you better be ready to, like, make another choice. It's like, okay. Coach Beard calls me. He's like, hey, I'm going to UNLV. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to Vegas. It's like, I'm 18. I'm going to make bad choices. I already know. And, like, I'm just not going to do that. So he goes on. Like, me and my dad are, like, sorting through our options. We're talking to everybody. You know, it's a giant cluster. There's, like, no navigation. Like, one coach is calling my dad, and I'm on the phone with another one. And so finally, Coach Beard calls me. And I'm like, hey, Coach, like, what's going on? Like, how you doing? I thought he was just, like, bored. I was like, we both agreed, like, I wasn't going to UNLV, and he was like, I don't have a spot for you. So I was like, that's fine. Like, very mutual. It's like, well, he's like, things have kind of changed. Like, I took the job at Texas Tech. And, like, not to be mean, but, like, I grew up in Arkansas. Like, we didn't watch – my dad was a Duke fan. I was a North Carolina fan. Never watched – Texas Tech basketball. Yeah. We didn't get that channel. Yeah. And so
nobody does.
So I was like, he was like, I'm in Texas Tech. Like, I'd love for you to come down. Like, I have a walk-on spot. I'm like, okay. So I talked to my dad, and he was like, hey, let's just go down there. You know, it'll be a fun weekend, if anything, and you can just, like, see it. So I get here, hop in car with Coach Beard, drives me around campus, and we get in the gym, and I'm like, that's it. Like, I was like, I don't care that I got to walk on. Like, I'm going to be on the roster. Like, I'm going to be here. You know, I was like, I'm going to play under these lights. And then, you know, on the way back, I, like, called him, and I was like, hey, like, save me that spot. Like, I'll be there in 2 weeks, you know. Like, I'll be there. And he's like, all right, sweet. And he's like, here's all the forms. You know, it's like 1,000 forms. He's like, you got to fill these out. I was like, okay.
That's so funny because when I was talking to Norrance about how he ended up at Texas Tech, obviously he was in the DFW area more than here. So he said he was looking up late one night and he got on his phone, looked up United Supermarkets Arena at the time, and he was like, I guess it was United Spirit Arena at the time. He was looking at it and he's like, 15,000 people. Like, yeah. I'm playing there. Like, yeah. I want to be there. And though, like, the program has come a long way, I remember going to Tech games before where, I mean, they were giving away tickets to the games. Like, you could walk up to the door and they'd sell you a ticket for $1 and say, yeah, come in and watch. And to see where the programs come today, where people are on a waiting list for years to get season tickets to these games. And that culture really started, and it started with you and the people that came through and instilled the culture into Texas Tech. And I know that's something that Texas Tech is still reaping the benefits of, is that culture that we have. And after last year, which was a year that, if you're a Tech fan, probably wasn't the best year, it's cool to see how people's mindsets in Lubbock have shifted. Used to be that was the normal. Now this is like, what in the world just happened? We only won like 6 conference games, 5 conference. How did that happen? And that started with you guys. So that's cool to see these people come back and to see these all of the athletes come back to Lubbock and to be back here. So again, we appreciate you coming on the podcast. I think that's going to wrap it up for this first segment, and we're going to hit some golf balls. I got some burning questions for you that the people want to know. So we're going to take a quick break, get the cameras shifted over there. Sweet. And we will be back.
Awesome.
Okay, welcome back to the second segment of the podcast. This is something new we haven't ever done. And we're at Golf Suites. They're letting us use their space, so we might as well hit some golf balls while we're here, ask you some questions, just real casual, fire them off as you hit golf balls. So go ahead, hit golf balls as you wish, and I'll fire the questions your way as you're swinging. And the first question is going to be, just so the people watching know, how much golf have you played in your life?
None. I mean, like, besides the occasional, like, Top Golf trip, but none.
So we're in for the stripe show is what you're telling us right now.
I mean, we're going like 400 right down the gut.
Over the back netting.
Yeah.
Okay. So whenever you got to Lubbock, obviously you are not from here, so this was a different experience for you. What was it like as your first days on campus? What being in a new town, being in a new city? You said you had freshman orientation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What was it like being in Lubbock, Texas?
Well, the first time being in Lubbock, Texas, like as a student, we were here for the summer, and so like there's like no student population. We're working out every day. Summer classes, we have like 2 or 3 of them a day, or a college schedule. I have 2 one day, 1 another. But at first had to like find the entertainment, had to figure out what you wanted to do for fun, but ended up being really fun. Had a lot of, made a lot of good friends. I had some here tonight. They have kids, so they had to leave. I like made awesome friends kind of right off the jump, and then, just kind of figured out from there.
There you go. So yeah, like obviously Lubbock's a different city from most of the places that you've been, and you got here as a freshman. You didn't play your first season at Texas Tech. You actually redshirted. So I guess tell us a little bit. What was that redshirt season like? How was it getting ready to play your next season, going through all of this with the intention of playing the next year?
Yeah. So it was really tough, obviously, because like we said earlier, we come from playing every game, scoring points and stuff, to not even dressing out for games. Like we'd practice all day, do all the weights, all the eating, just to like sit behind the bench and not dress out. So it was really tough, but like obviously I think I wouldn't have been as good as a college player as if I wouldn't have done that. So in the long run, it was very worth it, but it was very tough.
Very tough that
like,
first year.
You'd wake up with like no motivation. Like, well, like it doesn't even matter. Like I'm not playing. Like I just want to like go hang out with my buddies or whatever. But we could.
Yeah. All right. Let's see another shot.
Oh god.
Let's see the improvement from 1 to 2. We were out here playing earlier actually, and just kind of having a conversation with you. Got here. I was impressed. Impressed.
Yeah. Thanks.
Told them, oh my. Dead straight. See, that plays on the golf course 100 times out of 100.
A good 75-yard shot.
I mean, here in Lubbock, Texas, it's called the rollout.
Yeah.
So that's rolling out to at least 200.
It's bouncing on the dirt for a long time.
It is still going, really.
Oh, yeah. It's probably just still kind of moving out there.
So your first year here, you redshirted. We talked about that. And if I'm not mistaken, your second year, your first year shooting up, was that the Natty year?
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't experience a rise like that throughout their first year in college basketball. What was it like going from seeing the program the first year to being in Minneapolis on the last Monday in college basketball?
Well, we had a chance our first year too. We just had some real late season injuries with Keenan and Justin and Zach. Kind of slowed down our momentum as we were kind of rolling into the tournament. But going into our second year, we were super old. We had a bunch of good dudes. They were always the life of whatever room they were a part of, and very talented basketball players. So if I could have redshirted 2 years, I probably would have redshirted again my sophomore year, because there was, again, no way I was touching the court with those guys. And we were super, athletic, but fundamentally sound on both ends of the court. And so it was really fun. And then you just watch, like we talked about too, the attendance just grow and grow and grow. And then we're having to like turn people away, sadly. And then, we can't like walk to our cars and stuff. It was a lot of fun. And, it was really kind of a 180 at the end of it.
All right. Got to get another shot. After every question, we're slamming one. This is 18 holes of just driver.
Of just driver.
That's how we're gonna play this out. Hey,
there we go.
That's money right there.
Yeah.
All right. So your freshman year, obviously, it probably packed full of big games. But just throughout your career, what was your favorite game that you ever played in at Texas Tech, or even Texas? What was your favorite place that you got to play? Maybe the way you played in that game, anything like that.
Probably the first one. I'll just go with my first one. That really, it kind of clicked in college, and I had a lot of fun playing. I actually played in that game. Was at home against Arkansas, You know, I grew up like 2 exits down from the University of Arkansas. I wanted to play there. I was like, I don't mind, you know, coming home to my mom's house every afternoon and getting like dinner and stuff and my laundry done. I was like, it's fine with me. And a lot of things didn't play out, and so I didn't get an opportunity to play at the University of Arkansas. So when they came to town here for the SEC Big 12 Challenge, you know, it was kind of it was like personal. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, all right, and then we end up, you know, winning. So it was very, very fun, and it's probably one of my favorites.
There you go. Another shot. Let's see it. Smack
Nothing
dab in the
but
middle of the
drive.
fairway.
Yeah.
This is the one. Hey, we're getting again in West Texas.
That's a good.
That
That's a good drive.
that is a really good shot.
I mean,
that thing is still rolling down there.
yeah,
His last question was, who is the most impressive player that you played with or against?
oh gosh. I can do one of each. I'll start with against. We played Zion Williamson in Madison Square Garden, our national championship year, and it was kind of unreal. It was like a fever dream or whatever. Like Norrance was a big dude to us. You know, he's 6'9", 6'10", you know, solid, real cut, like 250.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude was a walking refrigerator. And he got close to me like once, and I was like, thank God I'm not playing. It's like there's nothing I can do, like nothing. And that was against. That's the most like raw and arguably impressive player I played against. With probably Mac McClung. He was everyone knows Mac and what he's capable of, but they said he was 6'2". He really wasn't. He was like 6 foot.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
In my mind. But and he was super impressive, could do whatever he wanted to, you know, above the rim and stuff, and he was super fast. So those are like the 2 guys that kind of pop into my mind when it comes to the crazies.
Yeah, and that Duke game, not only was it Zion, but there was 2 other players generating hype in R.J.
Cam
Barrett
Reddish.
and Cam Reddish.
Yeah, so it was just like, and this was kind of before, it was at Christmas, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was really before, you know, we knew we were good, but the world hadn't quite known it yet.
Yeah.
And we should have won, but we just we let it slip away in the end. And I think that was our only loss before conference.
Right.
So, but yeah,
Impressive.
when Zion Williamson like ran, I was like, please. Like I'm not built. Yeah, I'm not built for that. Like the ball was coming out of bounds, and he's just like, and I'm like, oh god. He's just, you know, it's just like taking up my whole visual. I'm like, oh no.
We've all seen the video of him step through his shoe. I don't want that to be me.
Yeah. Which at the time was very like could have. Like I was not anything. So it's like, God, just like wasn't okay.
All right, T-Box is yours. Let's see it again.
I'm gonna get one in the air here in a minute. It'll be all right.
We're 100% here for it. And moving on just a little bit, kind of along the lines of your favorite players. You probably played, not probably, you did. You played in some pretty cool places. You got to go, like I said, Monday night, Minneapolis, in a basic football stadium with 70,000 people. I know the answers that have been given to me a lot have been Iowa State, but what was the favorite arena that you played in? Whether it's the facilities were cool or the people were crazy, what was the favorite place, or what was your favorite place that you played in during your career?
That's tough. Because the Big 12, they're all hard. They're all hard to play at. They all have amazing student sections. Iowa State's a good answer. Obviously Kansas.
Yeah.
And especially like if they think they're going to win,
Yeah.
and they start, you know, giving you the rock chalk treatment. Like even as as not a part of KU, like it gives you the chills, and it's cool to experience. Like you hate to admit it, but. Like if you lose at KU, at least you walk out with a cool experience.
Yeah.
Man, I really loved playing at West Virginia because I'm kind of a Bob Huggins fan.
Yeah.
So he, you know, just tough, grindy guy, and so is like their crowd. Like they hold nothing back. they let you have it, and like, you know, you're gonna have to like go. I really enjoyed, and West Virginia is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the country up there, the mountains and tall trees.
West Virginia's been a tough place for Texas Tech to play. It's been hard to come by wins there. So
Oh yeah.
like I said, the Iowa State answer has been one that's been given to me a few times, and that one is surprising as a fan. And I was talking to Clark about this, and sometimes like over the TV, you don't really realize how loud some of these places are until you're in there.
Yeah, and like obviously, like when you watch on TV, like somebody play at KU, they talk about how loud it is, so you get a sense.
Right.
But I mean, Oklahoma State probably not as loud, but I mean it's loud. They're on top of you, just like everywhere else. You know, TCU or Texas or who else do we got? West Virginia, Iowa State. Like all of their crowds are amazing.
Right.
Like, you know, you don't. A lot of them are in, it's like Ames, Iowa. What else is there to do in Ames, Iowa? They're going to be there.
It's kind of how it is here in Lubbock.
Yeah, so, you know, it's going to be loud, and like everyone, you know, has a rightfully really good crowd, especially in years where they're really good too.
All right. Well, you know the drill. T-Box is yours again. And next question, also going to follow pretty closely with some of the things that we've been talking about. Hey, that one was up in the air.
Hey, once we get out in the middle, it'll get some more distance on it.
Just blame the wind. That's what I do. It's windy in here.
It's breezy.
Yeah.
So I think something that I want to know, everybody else here probably wants to know. February, you're coming back to Lubbock, Texas. You've gone on to Texas at this point. And y'all could probably feel it pulling the bus into the city of Lubbock, but the vibe's got to be a little bit different. And when I explain this to people, my comparison is a Game 7 in the NBA. Like, that is the atmosphere that was created around here in Lubbock, Texas.
I don't even know if that compares.
I was about to say.
It was obviously I was on the other side.
Yeah.
One was insane. Never seen anything like it. Like trying to like go to like walk through and like go home, like go back to the hotel.
Yeah.
And then I just like remember when we were about to come out of the tunnel, like for the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's like you've been like kind of anticipating this all year. Like just go and get it over with. And I remember like losing my mind. It was so loud. Coach Beard's trying to talk to me, and and he's like right in my face, and he's as loud as of a yeller as they get, and like I can't hear him, and I'm just like, yeah, and it's just like a giant, you know, it's like ringing in my head, and it's just, you know, I'm like, yeah, yep, got you, 100%, and like I sit down, and like I still can't hear, like my head's starting to hurt, and I'm just like, I look at our trainer. And I'm like, Warren, like, is there anything? He's like, nope. And so I was just like, kind of wrote it out. And then like the game's about to start. So thank God, you know, the crowd at least lets us hear. But I just remember like he's trying to talk to me. And there's like nothing I'm just like, yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah, my ears are just like. Like,
were you surprised? I know, like I said, this had been built up, and the storyline surrounding it, all of it, like the perfect situation was created for college basketball right here. Were you surprised by how loud it was in there? Because I've gone to games like a long time, and like I wish I could go back to that night and just stay there for forever. Because like the feeling in the building, everybody's tense. Like, oh my gosh, like this is finally here. Was any of it shocking to you?
No. There was not one out. We knew going into it, one, like I didn't think I'd like have partial hearing loss for a while, but like, you know, over the years at KU, they always try to break the arena sound record, like whatever.
Yeah.
And they do it every time. I don't know. Might be rigged, might not. I don't know. But like that would have never been broken. Like I've never been able just to like not, like I was just like, yeah. No idea what he's saying. He's all red in his face, yelling at me, and I'm just like, yeah, I agree. Whatever you said was spot on. And like had to go sit down. Like there was nothing I could do.
So like obviously if you're a Texas Tech fan, I mean even I know like some of my friends, they're Texas fans, were in the building. Brave people, by the way, but they were in the building. And it was like about as fun of a college basketball game, if not the most fun to watch in my life. Not only because it was Tech versus Texas, Chris Beard versus Old School, but it was a hard fought game the whole way. Players were going 120% the entire game. Did it feel different playing in that game? Was there a different energy? Were you playing a little bit harder during that game? I mean, I feel like you had to have been, but what was that like?
Yeah, but I remember it was weird because everything was just like opposite of like, because I'd only been at Texas for, just 6 months or 7 months, whatever it was. So it's not like I was super used to it.
Yeah.
But like it's still muscle memory at the USA. So I remember like walking down, and I remember the night before the game, I hit like 27 threes in a row. And I'm like, this is very familiar. I was like, let's just save the rest for tomorrow. And I remember I was walking back, and I was walking to like Tech's locker room. Like I was just like walking, and our trainer was walking with me. He's like, where are you going? And I was like about to grab the handle into the locker room. I was like, wrong locker. So I had it was like a giant walk of shame all the way down the hallway. And so I like got there, and like it was just like weird because everything I knew was just flip flopped. So when we got out, I was like looking at the bench I was used to sitting on, and I was like, well, we're down here this time. So.
All right, T-Box is yours again, and I'll bring it back down. I'll get the energy back out of here just a little bit. Give you a little bit of a softball question, but obviously Texas Tech and Lubbock. There we go, getting some power on it.
That will play.
But Texas Tech, it's a smaller town. It's a college town. When you're here and it's 12 o'clock at night, where are you going to get a snack? You're hungry. Where are you going to get food?
Food. Well, so being from Arkansas, we didn't have Whataburger. So Whataburger, I really enjoyed Whataburger, and now I eat it all the time. I'm trying to think of something more. Well, my favorite restaurant, it wouldn't be a midnight stop, but my favorite restaurant is Caprock Cafe. Still to this day. I love it. Nothing beats a queso bacon cheeseburger and a nice schooner. They have the coldest mugs in town, I think. And so I loved it. And that's my favorite. That is my atmosphere. It's super cool in there. I really enjoyed that place. Is where it's at. Yeah. Where it's at.
All right. I'll get you another ball. T-Box is yours. What do you get from Whataburger?
Oh, Whataburger? The honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich. That's the go-to.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%.
Extra French fries.
Let's see. Let's get this one out there.
I think I got to scoop back.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's all right. We've been building. We were bound to have one that goes off. So I guess tell us a little bit about what this process was like. You've been in Texas Tech for 4 years, I guess. Yeah, 4 or 5 years at this point. Chris Beard obviously goes to the University of Texas. City of Lubbock left in shock, and you're left with the decision: what do I stay here in Lubbock, Texas? Do I go to UT? Was there ever a doubt in your mind that you were going to follow Coach Beard to where he was going, or was it hard to leave the city of Lubbock and go somewhere else?
Oh yeah, for sure. I loved this place. It was awesome. It treated me well. Half of my groomsmen are from Lubbock. And so it was super hard, and it was very weird because I knew my career was about done too. I knew, like, if I had one more year, like, that was going to be it. Where was I going to spend it? I also was about to be married. Like, I was, there was like a lot of things going into this decision. And I remember I was in the Womble. I spent like 3 days in the Womble, which is very sad because it's such a nice facility. I was in the Womble and I was working out. Season had ended, and Coach Beard calls me, and he's like, "Hey, like, before it gets out, like, this is what's going on." He's like, "Love you, so glad you came and played for me." And he's like, "We can't talk anymore." Yeah. Because of the rule. He's like, "I'm officially not your coach. I'm the coach somewhere else."
Yeah.
And I'm just like sitting in the weight room. And I'm like, don't know what to do. I call my dad, And I tell him what's going on, and he drives. He drives straight down here. And so we go to Cap Rock, and he buys me a beer and a big old cheeseburger, and he's like, "What do you want to do?" He's like, "Do you know what your options are?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, kinda." I was like, "I could try to go play for him. It's like I could stay, I could hang him up, or I could go, I could go play somewhere smaller and actually, play and score and, actually be a contributor, on the court." And he was like, "Exactly right." And I was like, "Well, this hit me and my dad drove down here, and so it's like, Dad, it hit me yesterday. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm engaged. I don't, it's not really just me anymore." And so, I'm talking to her. She wants to stay. She's from she's from West Texas. And so I'm like, "What do we do?" And finally she's like, "Listen, I can pack my bags in 30 minutes. I can go anywhere." She's like, "I don't care. It's as long as we're getting married, that's all that matters." It's yes, we're getting married. So it was super tough. And, talking to, I knew all these guys. I knew all the coaches and the boosters and, Kirby, I have a lot of respect for Kirby. I was talking to him, the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Right.
And, it was really tempting in the long run, looking back now. Hanging them up probably would have just been okay, let's just have the career we had, start. But I was and I had 2 years left.
Yeah.
I had the COVID year and my redshirt year. And my mom's like, "You could go get." I was like, "Mom, I don't care about school." I was like, "I really don't." And so, after a lot of thought and prayer and, talking with my, soon-to-be wife and my dad, "What do I do? What would you do?" And they're like, "Well, we wouldn't quit. We would play somewhere, whether it's just to have fun or to, if you want to follow a coach, go try. If he says no, he says no. Right. It is what it is." So that's how that went down.
It's crazy, and I mean, obviously, fans and everything think they know what's going on and think that they're in the know and all this stuff. So it's kind of cool to hear the background story behind some of these things. So I appreciate that. We're gonna tee up another one.
Come on.
We're gonna let you smack this one.
I know. Come on.
Let's see it. This one's going at least 250.
No. Yeah, 2.5 yards. Oh, so close. I just want to send one, and then I'll be fine.
All right, we're gonna tee up one more. This is gonna be you get one more shot. This is the last part of this segment. Show us everything that you're made of, but don't take everything out because we've got something coming up in the next segment. So make sure you make this one a good one though. One that on a good note. Boom! He is clutch, ladies and gentlemen. That was perfect. And that is going to do it for this second segment of the podcast. We're going to move it over one more time. We've got a third segment, and then we're going to be done here. So we'll be back here in just a second. Alrighty, welcome back to the last segment. We'll have one more switch, but this is the last segment of the podcast today. We've got something that is going to be pretty awesome. I'll just go ahead and say that. We've got our audience in the background. They're going to be judges for what we're about to do. We're going to do something called Take versus Take, and we do this on the radio at 100.7. So I've heard them do some of these questions. But if you don't know what Take versus Take is, I'm going to ask you a question. You're both going to answer my question, and whoever the audience likes more, whichever answer the audience likes more, gets a point. Now, there's incentive in this for Avery because the more questions he gets right, we're doing a long drive competition, and this is going to roll throughout all the guests we have. But the more answers you get right, the more shots you have when we go do the long drive contest. So you want to get these right. And for King, this is purely bragging rights, saying he beat Avery Benson at Take versus Take. So there is definite hype around this. So I'm just going to tell you all that. So we're going to start out with our first question, fastball right down the middle. If you had to make a signature sandwich, you're at a deli, you have a signature sandwich named after yourself, what's going on in your sandwich. We'll go to Avery first.
What's going on in my sandwich? Definitely bacon. Honey roasted ham. I like spicy, so jalapenos.
Ooh.
On a nice whole wheat bread. It's going to be toasted. What else? I'm trying to think. What I like on my sandwich.
Any cheese on there?
Oh yeah, I'm a pepper jack cheese guy
Pepper jack
too.
cheese.
I know. I like spicy.
Yeah.
And then maybe some like salt and pepper.
What are you gonna name it? What's the name?
I don't even know.
Just anything.
Yeah, just like the house sandwich. If it's gonna be like it's the house sandwich.
The house sandwich.
Told you these were
and maybe like an egg on there, because I love like eggs on sandwiches
Okay.
too.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know.
all right.
Okay.
I like that. So we move to King now.
Okay, I'm gonna call mine. I guess I had time to think about it. I'm gonna call it the Royalty. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be. It's a good name.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go. It's gonna be a double stacked burger, queso shoved right there in the middle.
I feel like we've talked about the queso burger.
I feel like we
before.
talked.
Well, I was thinking like a sub, not like a burger. I was thinking
like,
of like a sandwich.
Just
All right,
queso.
we'll break it back down. It has to be a deli sandwich. I did say at a deli.
Okay.
It's got to be a sandwich.
Okay, that's me. I apologize. We're gonna go. Just one of those. Oh, what's the flatbread called? I'm just gonna call it
Flatbread.
just flatbread. Okay, cool. We're gonna start with just flatbread. Just maybe throw some lettuce on it. A little bit of chipotle sauce. We're gonna throw a couple slabs of turkey on it. What pairs? I think Swiss is the one that pairs with turkey. I could be wrong. I really hope I'm not. Throw some Swiss on it. We're gonna close it up. We're gonna stick it we're gonna cut it in half. Then we're gonna stick it in the oven to crisp up a little bit, and then we're gonna bring it out, and then we're just gonna throw some stuff on top of it. That is my sandwich, and I think I'm gonna lose.
All right, so I have a definite winner, but let's
turkey
see what the audience is thinking
Brought to you by-
in terms of who had the better sandwich. They're gonna cue me in, but both very good sandwiches. I won't sway the audience, so I won't give you what my answer would be, but I'll tell them after they deliberate and give me an answer here. But I don't think it's very close. I know who the winner is here, and once we deliberate, we'll get to that. And again, we've got 6 questions here, so Avery needs every question that he can get. These are all very big golf shots. that he's gonna have.
He just names off the Cap Art queso
Yeah,
burger.
it's just
I'm
what
like,
we talked
what?
about. We have the vote coming in from the audience.
I
We
demand a
got the A.
recount.
Yeah.
That means Avery.
Okay.
That means Avery will get the first point here in take versus take. The first take versus take ever here at Golf Suites. And
Is a burger a sandwich?
Well, not a deli sandwich.
I didn't hear the deli part.
you're at a deli.
That's my.
I definitely did say you walk into a deli. What is your?
There will be burgers at my
He
deli.
just starts rattling off the capstone queso burger, and I'm like, what?
I'm not gonna lie, it's just been ingrained in my head, and I just want that burger.
All right, so we got question number 2. This one is a lot a bit easier, but so far Avery has gotten himself 1 extra shot, so he's at a total of 2 for the long drive contest. All of these matter very much. Second question, King will go first in this one. What is the best fast food place in Lubbock, Texas?
Oh, easy, Whataburger. I think that's really hard. I mean, if you roll up at night, you get the honey butter chicken biscuit sandwich. If you go during the day, you have a variety of choices. So I'm gonna go Whataburger. Cause you said fast food, right?
You're at a deli. Did say fast food, yeah.
Okay, I'm making sure. I'm going Whataburger.
Yeah, it's tough. Okay, we didn't have this back home either, and so this will be my answer, Rosa's. We didn't have roses.
Ooh, I know where the audience is going here.
It better not be
we'll let
another
them.
A.
We'll let them do their deliberations, but I don't think this
like,
one.
I love both of those. I
Yeah.
eat those religiously. Both
This
of
is
them.
going to be one of those replay reviews where the refs go in and everybody already knows the outcome. I like one of. Again, I'm not going to sway the audience or anything. I see a few votes coming in right now, but we need a unanimous vote.
There's just no way.
And this one is also going to be going to Avery. 2-0 here on
Roast
Take versus Take.
over
The
Waterburger.
homemade tortillas, baby, daily.
The homemade
I guess I'll just
tortillas
have to-
hit different.
No, because
All right.
if I was first, I probably would have said Whataburger. Like that probably
Hey,
would have been.
that's
mine.
And I definitely was not gonna say
That's
that.
how the game goes.
If I went second, I don't know.
Everybody, you gave the two best answers that probably
Yeah.
could have come out.
Well, I
So
said Taco Bell, and I was like, well, that's like actually like bad fast food. So I was like, what's
Hey.
like fast food?
That's
I had
good.
Taco
good.
Bell
That's
for
good.
lunch
Okay.
today.
Fast food. I was like,
All right,
it's like it's a drive-through.
thank you for your loyalty.
Yeah, I
You
most
are
definitely did have Taco Bell earlier today. If you go to Taco Bell, what are you? This isn't a question. If you go to Taco Bell, what are you getting?
Beefy 5-layer burrito,
Okay.
and then what are they called? It's like the same thing, like a beefy quesarito.
Okay. Interesting.
then
There's
a-
one right answer, and I haven't heard it yet. So
Baja
we'll see. We'll
Blast.
see if King knows.
The good old cheesy Gordita Crunch.
The cheesy gordita crunch is
It's-
hands down the best thing you can get at Taco Bell. Avery, if you haven't had a cheesy gordita crunch, when you leave here, go get you a cheesy gordita
on.
crunch. It'll change your life. I promise. I promise you, it'll change your life. It's incredible.
Baja
Get it with the nacho cheese
Blast.
shell.
Baja.
A Baja Blast. Okay, so it's 2-0 in favor of Avery.
I demand a
We're
recount.
going on to question 3. This one will be a lot more controversial. What is the best movie of all time? Number 1 movie. The question goes to Avery first.
Right up my alley. I'm a movie guy.
I am blanking on every movie, so I'm so happy you're
The
first.
pressure's on. You gotta be.
I know.
Oh,
I'm gonna go Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Very good
that's a
answer.
good movie.
What do we have
Because
from?
I have some very personal biased ones though too.
Yeah.
So.
What do we have from The Royalty?
The royalty. I'm gonna go with The Dark Knight. Is gonna be my. Is
Batman:
gonna
The
be
Dark Knight. Two very good movies were named off right here. And I am not a
what-
movie person. If anybody knows me, I'm not a movie person. So I've never seen Shawshank Redemption. I'm exposing myself right now.
That one
I
hurt you,
have
didn't
I
it?
have seen The Dark Knight. It is
a good movie,
it is
isn't
a
it?
very good movie.
I wouldn't even say it's the best. It's just one of the more well-known classics.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah.
So we're waiting. We got the audience deliberation going on. The panel is discussing
Come on.
where
Come
they
on, I
think they
need
want
one.
this one
I
to
need
go.
one.
And I think we have I think we've
it's-
got a
Yeah,
split.
that's fine.
And it is going to be going to King on this one. The Dark Knight is going to take this one home. We're going to
Yeah.
tighten this thing up a little bit. It's 1-2 now. And Avery, you are at 2 extra shots right now, 3 total. And we're going into question number 4. This one is way out of left field. But if you could be any animal for a day, what animal would you be, and why would you choose that animal?
Right off the cuff, I'm gonna say a house cat. I feel like a house cat has the easiest life. Like, they do nothing. They sit, they eat, they purr. They might look out the window. Maybe, if we're lucky, they'll look out the window. But then they'll immediately go back to doing absolutely nothing. So I think what I would picture a perfect day for me is like a lazy day, like a lazy Sunday, like throw on like a football game or something and just like chill. I feel like cats, house cats particularly, do that 24/7. So I will be choosing the house cat.
See, I feel like one of the most underappreciated but most commonly used animals is to be a fly on the wall. I would be a fly because there's a few places I would buzz my happy hind end to and listen. So I think I'm going to go with a fly for a day. And then I like pop back.
Interesting. Where would be the place you would want to go?
Where is it?
Well, I definitely go to Megan Fox's house. And then and then probably I don't know, somewhere else cool. I'd make that decision on the fly.
On the fly?
But brought to you by
All right, so we've got the fly on the wall and the house cat. Two animals I did not think we were going to hear in this take versus take, but audience deliberation. What are we thinking? Are we going with the fly or the house cat?
I'm actually voting with the audience on this one.
Avery has swayed King into his side. That'll be now 3-1. So if King wants to tie this thing up, he's got to win out. These are high pressure questions.
I got to rally some off.
Now, Avery, so far, you've got 4 shots at the long drive here in just a second. Move right along to question number 5. What is the best food, the most delicious food that is hard to eat?
The most delicious food that is hard to eat.
Most delicious food that is hard to eat.
I'm first. Okay. Grew up in Arkansas, and it's not as much Northwest, but South and into Louisiana, it's crawfish. Hard to eat, hard to learn, but once you learn it, it's easy to eat.
Yeah.
But it is delicious. So I'm gonna go with like a crawfish.
Have you ever been to a full-on crawfish broil?
Oh yeah. Our baseball coach was from Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have.
Oh yeah.
Spoke Creole and the whole nine. So he whipped up some good crawfish.
All right, we've got crawfish as the first answer. King,
I'm gonna
what you got?
go. I guess I'm kind of gonna go in a different direction, but I'm gonna say Indian food because I love to eat Indian food. It is hard after you eat Indian food. Okay, that's why I'm gonna go Indian food. You get that little rumbly in your tummy, you know. you get that shake, and then you know what happens after the shake. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Indian food because I fully blanked on this question.
So we've got Indian food on one side and crawfish on the other side. Audience, what are we thinking here? Gonna have the deliberation.
Yeah.
Unanimous going to Avery.
How many of you have had crawfish before?
It is.
I lose.
King,
Have you never?
I have.
Oh,
King
okay.
and I have literally been to a crawfish broil. Like I
We were there. Yep.
In Lubbock, Texas, we've been to one.
I'm bad at this.
All right, so that is going to be that was question 5, actually. So for the last question, and King, there's still a lot to play for here. You're taking an answer away or a golf shot away from Avery. This is a very high-pressure question. What would be, and this goes to you first. This is to King first. What would be the worst food you could possibly bring to a tailgate?
I'm going to go Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's actually kind of fair, but kind of unfair. Because we talked about this question not even that far back ago. Me and Landon did.
Yeah.
But I think I don't like Brussels sprouts. And so I feel like if somebody pulled up to a tailgate with just steamed Brussels sprouts and just here guys, that's not getting touched.
Brussels sprouts is a good answer.
I feel like that's a good answer. All right, so I had a rule, and it was never to bring anything that competes with, the house.
Yeah.
Like the woman of the house is what she's making, and the guy's gonna barbecue or grill. So it's not like you're gonna bring burgers and dogs.
Yeah.
But if the wife makes some potato casserole or green bean casserole, you need to make sure. So just if you bring the same thing as the wife of the house, it's the worst thing to bring to the.
And so if you try and show up the hostess in Brussels sprouts, two very
Because
different
if I'm invited somewhere, I'm probably bringing plates and cups.
Yeah.
So
Got to keep it safe. You don't want
It's
to.
the safest possible thing.
I'm
You don't wanna
want
offend anybody.
Just grab Doritos, just walk
See,
in.
that one's perfect. You don't offend anybody. You don't bring something nobody likes. Nobody likes to see their food that they brought be just full when they're
Exactly.
done. So
I feel like
that's
you're
a-
helping his case.
That's a nice.
But
well,
it's also worse if your plate of potato casserole is gone and the wife of the barbecuers is not.
I was helping his. I wasn't helping his choice. I was helping his. I'm gonna bring plates and cups to a dinner.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I guess
smart.
we'll let the audience decide.
So the audience, the deliberations, they're going on. This would give Avery
I literally
6
didn't
total
give a
golf
food. I
shots
just said
if
whatever.
you were to get this
You
one.
literally did give a food item. If I lose to a non-food item, I'm gonna cry.
This will be. They're really talking about this one. I
But
think
it's
there's
the
some.
worst thing you can
You
bring.
could. That is possible. Yeah, that is. That is the
It
worst
is the
thing.
worst thing.
There is definitely a split amongst the audience. I know. I'll defend. I went with Avery a little bit. I'll defend King too. If Brussels sprouts were at a tailgate, I would not be having them.
No.
I don't mind a Brussels sprout. I mean, it's not like what I'm.
Look at a
craving.
tailgate. I'm not going for the
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, not at a tailgate either. Maybe like my grandma's.
This is the most discussion we've had. This is the most deliberation that we have had on any of these questions. Very thought provoking.
Yeah.
And it is also going to go to Avery.
You are
nearly
so lucky.
sweeping King in this one. Wins it 5-1.
Yeah.
We've got one last thing coming, and it's the long drive contest. We'll be here in the blink of an eye, and we'll be over there.
Cool.
Sweet. Brought to you by.
Golf sweet.
Alrighty, so we're here. We've got the last thing we're doing tonight. Before we get started, want to say one more huge thank you to Avery for joining us out here tonight. Now, what this is that he's going to get 6 golf shots, and he's just trying to get it as far as he can. We're going to take that number down. This is going to be a running tally for the rest of our guests that come. So after tonight, you're number 1 on the leaderboard. It doesn't matter how far it goes. You're number 1 until the next person potentially. So you got 6 golf shots. It is all to you now. We'll see. We had some good shots out there. Aim doesn't matter. It's 100% distance.
Aim 100% matters.
Shot 1 does
10.
not track, so that's going to count as a 0. If it doesn't track, it's a 0.
Zero.
We're at 0 right now. Got to get this thing out there as far as you can.
I've seen him hit it pretty far. He hit one earlier that was pretty far.
The last thing that he said was before he absolutely demolished it. The last thing he said was, maybe I'm swinging too hard, and then he crushed it. So
Maybe I am.
We'll see
Okay.
if he's trying. We'll see how he adapts. He was clutch. He was clutch last time.
He was. He had. All right.
Go.
Beamer.
Oh.
It's not high enough. You got to get it up.
Want to take your shot. You've got 3 shots left. 3
gotta, like-
very, very big shots now.
You were so lucky I threw the last segment, or you would have had.
I know. If I'd only got 2 right, I'm like, well, I'm taking home 0.
There you go. I did it so you can have more shots.
This is.
That's going to track. Yep.
There's
It tracks.
one.
It
tracks. Yeah.
On the board. We are on the board. Total of 23 yards. Got the Jordan number out there.
Yep. That's what I needed. I got
will
one more
say-
after this.
You got one more.
All right.
After this.
More after this one.
I just
I
got to
will
get it
say-
off the ground.
23 will probably not hold up on the leaderboard.
No, it will.
But if he's able to get one out here in these next 2, that would be best case scenario.
Oh, I thought that was it.
That would have been the one. That would have been the one, Avery.
It's not gonna.
It's not gonna read it.
No.
All right.
We are down to the final shot.
We called him Mr. Clutch out there because he hit a clutch finishing shot. The pressure's on. This is it.
Imagine you're Jarrett Culver in the national championship. You get that last shot.
It's your shot.
It's just to win it all.
Oh, God. And it's golf.
Just breathe.
Clutch
Just
G
breathe.
has to be
Does he have it?
No pressure at all. The
Hat goes
Yeah.
backwards.
business.
No! No! I go to
It's too familiar.
yeah. So close.
But you got on the board.
You're on the board. Yes. It wasn't a 0.
That's
It's
the
all right.
biggest thing here is that we're on the board. You're in first place right now.
I mean, I could have thrown a golf ball farther. Like, I should have just been safe on the last.
I would have said it counts. If you would have chunked it out there, you would have had to have counted. So that's going to do it for our time here. I want to give a few shout outs before we end it. Big shout out to Golf Suites for letting us use their space and their equipment, and Amit for being our waiter and taking care of us. Did an incredible job, kept us all happy. And so we really, big shout out to Golf Suites and all that for letting us come. We'll hope to do this again. And then the production stuff for Skydive Media did an incredible job. Like, this was one of, if not the coolest things I've ever done. Everything looks incredible. Everything sounds incredible. So we really appreciate y'all setting that up for us. If you need any media stuff done, make sure you guys check out Skydive Media. And last one, it's going to go to the man himself, Avery Benson, for making the trek down to Lubbock, Texas to be on the podcast. We had a great time. We appreciate you coming out.
Thank y'all for having me. It was awesome. Awesome job. This is going to be real fun for y'all and everybody that y'all have coming forward. Obviously, someone's going to beat 23 yards. So
No.
So
We won't tell him you did that with a driver. We'll say we started him off with a pitching wedge, and 23 is where we got. But
Yeah.
big shout out, obviously. You're always welcome on the podcast.
For sure.
So we appreciate you being here. And to everybody watching at home, thank you very much for tuning in. Hope y'all enjoyed the experience. And we'll be back with some more here. King, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here again. We'll get this thing going. And then to the live audience as well. We appreciate y'all supporting us. And that's going to be it here for Chicas Talk, for King and Avery and the live audience. We'll see you guys in the next one.
He didn't even say a food item.